Wow, I didn't even add myself to the stage. So, yeah, I'm soft launching because of things like that. But nevertheless, I'm excited about tonight's first community talk. I'm just going to jump right in there and, share some things that we're going to be discussing tonight. But I'll be here every Wednesday. I'll be between here and our YouTube channel, which is where I post a lot of videos that go with the articles that I post about community events and community news and topics. If you run across this video and you don't mind, listening to a little chat about community events that's coming up, um, and then as well some community news, hey, join in the discussion, as well as please share this video. I'm gonna probably take some time to do that too, because yeah, I'm gonna be doing that. Give me 1 second. I'm just gonna share this a few places on Facebook, and I'll get better at this. Ah, let's see. There we go. So yeah, I'm gonna be going live between here and between our YouTube page. And I want to just invite you all to drop in. I'm going to be having some community topics. I'll have some guests coming in and some different segments. I already do this for another county that I currently live in. Jacksonville is my hometown. And so I still am very invested in Jacksonville and in what's going on. I still care about the city that I grew up in, and, provided me with a lot of opportunities and skills. And so this is my way of giving back. I have a printed publication. It's out on MagCloud, and you can become a subscriber for $2 a month. And I'll be sharing more information about that a little later. And we do have a guest in here tonight. I'm excited. For our first show, we have a guest. So, y'all, I know nobody's in here now, but as people come in, and if you're able to catch it, please share it out. I'm kind of soft launching this, platform here in Jacksonville. I go live every Thursday in my hometown. I mean, where I live at now, the current city in Florida that I live in. And so I said I wanted to start doing this here. So tonight, I kind of want to present a few community events. And so that's kind of where we're going to start at. I'm going to be discussing Jewels of the Future. There were our latest cover, mother and daughter duo, and I hope to have them on a later show to come in and share about all of the great things that they're doing in the community. Diamond Wallace, so we'll learn a little bit more about an event they have coming up. We're going to be discussing some community meetings that JTA is putting on. The Jacksonville Transportation Authority, they're putting on some community meetings throughout the month of July and August, and I want to talk about it. And our special guest, Stretch, Sweat, and Step. That's a community event coming up. And so we have a special guest that's going to be coming up to give a little bit more information about it. So I'm excited about that. And so if you run across this page, definitely hit that follow button so you can be up to date on some things and some resources that's out there in the community that's there to help you, because there are, a lot of great things happening in Jacksonville. I see it all the time. I'm like, wow, I'm gone and y'all picked now to have a lot going on. But nevertheless, then we're going to get into some community topics. I want to discuss the Section 8 employment requirements that's going on only in Jacksonville. Y'all, this is the part that I need people to understand. And then there's been some breaking news this evening with our very own Angie Nixon, um, who's running for U.S. Senate. There's been some new developments within her campaign and some things going on that I would like to discuss, as well as I peeked into her July challenge, and I want to talk about that and as well discuss, the Senate role and what their purpose is and how they contribute to the community. So that's what I want to talk about tonight. I'm just going to go ahead and get into this thing. No fancy intros or anything like that. I just hope that you'll join me um, Wednesdays at 7. I'll be back on Facebook, but I'm going to go to YouTube next week. So stick around here and we'll see. So I want to start off by going over this event that's coming up. And like I said, Jewels of the Future was our latest cover for Duval Connect Magazine. We've been following Jewels of the Future for a while now. They have been doing a lot in the community, uh, providing some great skills to young women, giving them leadership skills, and putting them out there in the community to have some engagement and to learn more about different employment opportunities. Diamond Wallace is a young Black woman activist in the Duval community, and she's done a lot over the years. Even as a teenager, she was speaking out against the schools name changes. I think that's one of the first times that I heard her name was during that time. And that situation, among other things, around 2020, 2021, propelled her to be out of the state of Florida and meeting a lot of activists and different things like that. And so Duval Connect has followed her mom, and the cover story about her, um, shares that matriarch story. It's really beautiful. So I would love to encourage you all to check that out. You can download that. It's on madcloud.com. But they're getting ready to have their ninth annual back to school party. So this is the ninth year that they've been doing this. It's going to be August 7th from, 12 to 3 p.m. So you can go to 6050 Moncrief Road, and that's back to school. They're going to have some youth and community organizations, free food, live DJ, bounce house, water slides. So they always do it up with their parties and their events. They host a Christmas one, as well, where they often give back to the community. And so if you have a young lady out there that you would like, and looking for a safe space for them to be in, um, this is a good organization to connect them with a lot of the young women that have gone on, from high school and in college. They're really doing some amazing things. And so you have to put that stuff in them at a young age. And so I'm excited about all of the things that they're getting ready to do. So yeah, so check that out. You'll see more details on our Facebook page. And then you can check out our blog, duvalconnect.blogspot.com. And you can learn more about the ninth annual back to school party. And I'll share more about that in the upcoming weeks. And hopefully we can get Diamond to come in and share as well. about that. So, moving on, I'm gonna skip a little bit around because I know the next topic gonna kind of lead into our discussion. So I want to learn more about stretch, sweat, and step. So I'm gonna bring Yaya up. Are you there?
Yes, I am here. Can you guys hear me?
I can hear you. Yes. How are
Okay,
you?
great. I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing good. Thank you so much for joining. I know this was so last minute and everything, but I just am ready to just launch this and kind of jump out there. And so I just appreciate, you coming on and being willing to share.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for inviting me, and thank you for taking that leap as well too. Just putting yourself out there again or whatnot. The community needs that, needs people to put a light on it. You know how they say put a light on everything that's going on. So thank you again for reaching out to me and inviting me on your platform today.
Yeah, absolutely. So tell us about this event that you have coming up and what role you play in it. Because I see it's a variety of women.
Yes. Yeah,
Yeah.
so I have a group called Accountability Circle Girlies. It is about wellness, just prioritizing our wellness, trying to meet those goals of drinking our water on a regular basis, moving our body, taking those steps, trying to get to that 10K steps a day, just eating the right way or being more mindful about what we put in our body. And this is pretty much for women that just want to prioritize their health and don't want to do it alone or have tried to do it but don't have no one there to encourage them to just keep doing it the right way. So that is what the accountability circle is all about, is about women coming together, prioritizing their health and having that accountability within each other to just make better choices on our day-to-day basis. And another thing that the accountability circle also do, during the spring season, we go hiking once a week. Every Saturday we go hiking, just connect with the natures as well too. And then we also have wellness and fitness events. And this is our annual fitness event that we typically do. This year is called Stretch, Sweat, and Step. Where me and myself, one of my nicknames or one of my names is also Yaya, as I stated before. My real name is Yesenia. But I also do yoga. I am an instructor in yoga as well too, a certified instructor in yoga as well too. So in this event, I'll be doing yoga, and then I also have Marilyn B Fitness. She'll be doing the fitness portion of it, and then we also have LT. She's actually the CEO of our line dancing out here in Jacksonville called Duval Country Steppers. So she's
Okay.
actually the CEO of Duval Country Stepper, where she'll be implementing line dancing into the event as well too. And like you said, this is for the community. Is at 9 a.m. Hopefully we'll be out of there by 10:30 a.m. And just come out, come work, move your body, stretch it out, connect with women there, and you can find out more information on my Instagram, which is Accountability Circle Girlies as well too. Or you can find additional information on Eventbrite as well too.
I love this. I do. I'm a plus size woman, but I always like to do some sort of physical fitness. I've done
Mhm.
Pilates and kickboxing. It's
Yeah.
just like I want to incorporate some form of something, that's different than just an exercise or whatever. But this seems very interesting, like something I would love to get into or whatever. But so what made you all come together to do this?
Well, these women, the women that's on the flyer, they're actually my gym friends. That throughout the year we have grown into our own individual, and blossom into our own individual entity as well too. So as I stated, I already have the accountability circle, and Marilyn, which is MB Fitness, she's always been, the fitness girl. She'll take us to the gym, take us to the corner and have us lifting weights. So it
Oh,
was just, one of those things like, okay, you're gonna be the fitness instructor because I'm not lifting no weights unless you telling me, to lift the weights. And then you have Toya. Toya has was actually the LT actually was the hit dance instructor at the gym, and then she converted and started her own line dancing group. So this is just something that I was able to just bring, women that I already know personally, bring it together and make something come out for the community to also encourage other women to, because scientific actually says that the best way to get into fitness or to get into wellness is to find something fun to do that promotes consistency, because that allows the people to want to go have fun, and having fun could look like dancing or yoga or however, and doing it with a group of women, so that way you don't have to do it alone. So that's how we came to this conclusion. I was like, hey, you guys are already talented in these areas. I'm trying to get these women to stay consistent, eating right, doing right. So let's do something together, and we can branch out and give that opportunity to everyone or to anyone that's willing to come out in the community as well too.
I love it. I love it. I think it's very creative, and like you said, being able to do it together, is motivation, to kind of keep you doing it and keep you going back. So, is this something you all will do regularly?
Yes, right now we only do it once a year. Like I said, we just finished hiking season, which is something that I do throughout the spring season and at the beginning of summer. So this is actually our event that we do during the summertime. So there's always something that we do for the season or a month, or it's something different that we always offer. But this is something
Okay.
that we offer at this time annually.
Okay, I love it. All right.
Mhm.
Well, Lee, tell us again how we can connect with you. And then, if you're able to leave some links and things in the comment section, that way, as people come into it, they'll find it.
Yes, ma'am, will do. And once again, thank you for having me. And I hope to stay connected with you as you stated for any future endeavors as well too. And once again, congratulations on taking this leap and putting yourself out there again.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
All righty. Have a good one.
You too. All right, you guys. That was our very first guest on our very first show. Wow. That was exciting. That was Miss Yaya. So, you guys definitely July 19th, if you're available. Hopefully, she'll be able to drop some information in the chat. But if not, I'll go back and do that because I do have the Eventbrite link and I think it's posted on our page. I'll find out because I know we posted it somewhere on Duval Connect. So stay connected with us. We're going to be featuring a lot of unique events and exciting and fun things and some healthy things, some good things that can better your life. I was excited to run across this. I'm like, yeah, this is something I definitely think, the community should hear about. So I'm going to be sharing more things like that. it's basically like, they're trying to make sure everybody can get there to be heard. So it is really important to join in, share, if you feel like, hey, the buses are not running as frequently as they should, there's a particular pocket within the city, where it's like, man, I can't get to where I need to go. This is when you go here and you share that. Say, well, in this area, the transportation system is not uh, recognized in this area. Like, there's no bus stops. So, this is the meeting to go in there and let them know, if there's a longer wait, it's like, man, the bus takes forever. It only runs every 2 hours. We need the bus to maybe run every 30 minutes, every 45 minutes. When there's a need, they can put in a proposal to the state and federal government for funding. So you have to let them know that there's a need there so that the funding can be allocated. And this not only helps the people that rely on the transportation, this expands into jobs. And if there are issues within, while you're riding the bus, you say, hey, the AC is not working on half the buses, this is the time to say something, because they take this data, they take this information, and then they can put it together to give it to whatever city official that's represented in Tallahassee or somewhere where more funding can be released to provide what the community needs to get around town. There's monies allocated for public transportation in Jacksonville, and it's a big deal. So when you come in and you say, hey, the seating is terrible, or it's not enough buses coming frequently in this particular area, they have to create a plan to address that. So I'm going to be posting that soon, more information, because they have meetings, like I said, coming from July all the way to August. So, yeah, I'm excited about that. So, I want to get into more of the community conversations. And the first thing that I want to discuss is the proposed Section 8 employment requirements. Proposed is the key word. So, HUD has proposed allowing participating housing authorities to adopt work requirements for some able bodied adults, but this is not currently a nationwide requirement. The proposal would let qualifying agencies require up to 40 hours per week of work or approved activities for certain adults, while exempting many groups such as seniors and many people with disabilities. These are proposed federal changes rather than a rule already in effect everywhere. Jacksonville made national news for this decision to go ahead with this. A lot of times when there are federal rulings, the state have to accept those rulings. And what I've learned is that a lot of times they accept these proposals, you know, it comes with sometimes benefits and it comes with consequences. I just found it really funny, that this was proposed. Then Jacksonville was one of the rare, Duval is the one of the rare counties that decided to just say, okay, I'll do it, we'll do it. And it's like, even the news was questioning, like, why? Why are you the first ones to jump out here and do that? And so, for those that don't know, Section 8 is a housing choice voucher program. It's administered through HUD and local housing authorities. and it helps qualifying low income families afford housing. And so these changes that the federal government wants to make is to put stricter work requirements. And so there was a meeting held because there was a response from the community, and you can read all about it on our blog. But there was a meeting held, and residents and people within the program began to speak out. And they were basically saying, like, this is impossible, the requirements, because it's difficult to find a job. And we've seen the numbers, we've seen the layoffs. They've happened all year. They've happened to Black women, especially. You know, there's plenty of articles that talk about the significant amount of Black women that were laid off. And then in the same breath, you hear others speak about the difficulty in finding employment at this time. Um, Many people are filling out applications. You know, they're doing everything they can to find a job. They like people not returning calls. They don't want to return a call to you. You know, they next thing you know, you got an email saying thank you for applying, but we moving on with somebody else, or you didn't fit, you didn't qualify in some sort of way after you done did the application plus submitted your resume, did an interview, did all of the tests and all of these things, only to learn, you don't get the job and you have to start the process all over again. And so whereas before it maybe have taken you, you know, 0 to 3 months to find a job. Now it's taking people 6 months to a year to find a job. And so I think that's one of the main reasons why I decided to write about it, besides the fact of, like, Jacksonville, are y'all okay? You know what? Why are you popping out the plastic? I didn't feel like it was any need for them to do that. It's just like, what was that about? Why do you want to lead in that way and be the first to do that? So I did find that very interesting. So I said, yeah, I'm going to talk about that. So we have a full breakdown, and we're going to be continuing to discuss that on the blog and how that is impacting the community. And so, you guys, there's been some breaking news. We've been covering, oh, my battery for my laptop. Man, hold on 1 second, y'all. Because if I get to talking, I'll forget again, and then it'll just die. Okay, there we go. So, there has been some breaking news. Today, Angie Nixon, from Jacksonville, Florida, running for U.S. Senate. She announced her campaign earlier this year. We wrote about it. But today she appeared in court in connection with charges stemming from her May arrest during a sit-in protest at the governor's office. So today's hearing resulted in a trial being scheduled for the week of September 21st. So I do have a clip of a statement she posted on her social media, but I did want to revisit some things about this. You know, I feel like a lot of people, or maybe the news, might try to make this all about, oh, she has to go to court, she has to go to court. And I want to remind you all of why she did this. It's something strange going on. It's just something strange going on. is something strange going on, because this woman is doing what we've been waiting for a lot of politicians to do. During this time, it feels like people have been waiting for someone to just stand up, to just really speak out and just say what's going on and speak up about the things that others are hushed about. And in my opinion, I have not seen one difficult issue within the community that Angie hasn't addressed. She has addressed everything that anybody could put up towards her. She's looked into it and developed a strategy and communicated it to the community on, this is what I'm going to do to address this. And a lot of those issues we've covered. We haven't even been able to cover everything, but this stems back from the decision that the government made to redistrict the maps. And that kind of went over because it's so much going on. It's so much going on. It's like, man, it's hard to keep up with what you really need to keep up with. And it was talked about when they did that, and a lot of people spoke out about it, but they didn't go as hard as Angie. They didn't go as hard as her. She got that bullhorn. She was out there like, y'all gonna hear me. Y'all gonna hear me. I think they tried to reprimand her for that. And then there was a sit-in that her and other activists did at Governor Ron DeSantis' office, where I don't even think he came out and said anything. I don't even think he acknowledged it. I don't think he made a statement about it or anything, but she was arrested for that. And, the redistricting part about it, it's just so blatant. It's just such a blatant move of power. Of, I got the power. No one's going to question me. No one's going to tell me not to do anything. And they just changed the lines. And I was in a discussion when all of those things went down. I think it was like a civics discussion within Faith in Florida here in Pasco. And they were basically, talking about how these things would go on in the past. And then the Republicans and the Democrats kind of maybe came to some agreement. And then, when the Democrats were maybe like suggesting, hey, we need to redistrict, we need to change some things, the Republicans were against it. And now they're just doing it. They're just doing it. And even though there was outcry, it hasn't been enough for me from the Democratic side. This whole entire time, it has not been enough response from the Democratic Party. It hasn't been enough response in support to what Angie is doing from the Democratic Party. It's like, where are you? Where are y'all? Where her, where is the party? I've seen a few people. I know Robert People supported her. There may have been a few other ones that supported her, but it was not enough. It was not enough. So I think I have the yes statement. So I'm going to share that and play that.
Thing crystal clear today. If they think the threat of a trial is going to make me back down, they picked the wrong woman. I'm here. I don't know how to feel.
I don't know why it paused.
They told me when I first got arrested what my charges were going to be. My attorney said he doesn't even know what to expect because they still haven't formally charged me. Let's call this exactly what it is. This is the weaponization of justice, of a justice.
I don't know. I wonder if, man, it's like it froze up. Hmm. Testing, testing. Let's see. Okay, yeah. All right, good. I'm like, darn, what? I'm so upset that that happened. But nevertheless, basically, she was saying she's not backing down. You know, all of these intimidation tactics are not going to work. And she's still going to move forward, you know, with standing up for the people. And so there were other people that spoke at the press conference. Her attorney spoke, basically sharing the next steps that would take place. Um, so we'll kind of keep up with that. But more importantly, we're going to be paying attention to um, the different stances that Angie has on the issues of the community. That's the main things that we're going to be focused on. And she's in a July challenge. I ended up going into her call, I think it was Monday, um, maybe the previous Monday. I'm not sure at this moment, but it was a couple of days ago. She did a July kickoff. And so she's doing a challenge, challenging different ones to knock on 1,000 doors and talk about her. Man, she had everybody in that zone fired up. Man, like I was like, wow, it was just amazing. It was amazing to see, people come together and support, and belief in her and what she wants to do. So that's what's going on. There was another thing I wanted to talk about when it comes to the U.S. Senate race, just so you all know, our current U.S. Senators, Rick Scott, Ashley Moody, so um, people have been in support of them. They're both from the Republican Party. Then the candidates that are running for U.S. Senate, um, there's some non-party affiliate people, Payno Churchill, Neil Gillespie, then the Dems, Angie Nixon, Alex Vindman, And from the Republican side, Ashley B. Moody, Chris Gleason, Neelam Perry, and Ernie Rivera. I did run across some interesting numbers when I was looking up some things as far as their donations and things like that. I said, wow, Ashley Moody and them men is up into the millions within their donations. And so I know I see sometimes Angie speak out and say, I don't have big donors pushing my campaign so that I can sit back and not have to listen to the people. But one thing I know, she was all the way down here in Pasco County, um, coming to events, shaking hands, listening, and rallying the people. And so, these other people, I don't even know them. I haven't even heard their names or anything about them, but they got a lot of money. So, and you can find a lot of this information on ballotpedia.org. I think you can find the financial information at localcandidates.org. Then I also was on the fec.gov getting this information about them. So those are the candidates. The election is in August, so you have time to still look these people up and get some information. So yeah, you know. So what do you think? What issues matters most in the Senate race to you? What issues matter most in the Senate race to you? And going back to our housing topic, should housing assistance include work requirements? Should there be work requirements? What are your thoughts for the housing assistance program? And how extensive should they be? So we want to know. Drop your thoughts in the comment section. And then finally, what local story should Duval Community Talk investigate next? What should we discuss next? I also want to encourage you to share your events. Duval Connect 2020 at gmail.com. Duval Connect 2020 at gmail.com. You can email us. You can subscribe for $2 a month, and you'll receive digital copies of the magazine for free and half off for printed issues. Okay, so we might be done with our show tonight. I guess I ain't have a lot to yap about, but I like to yap, so you know, hey, stop on by. Okay. August 2nd, be sure to take your kids to the 9th annual back to school party. And also, if you're out there and you're one of the ones that say, man, I want to do something, I want to give back to the community, I don't know what to do. This is a good organization to donate to. This is a good organization to call up and say, how can I help you? What's your next event? What are some things that you need that I can donate? And that is how you can help and give back. So make sure to save this also for a family of some young women that need a good organization that they can be a part of and connect to. And so coming up July 19th, that's in a couple of days, y'all. You got a couple of days, get your cute workout outfit, and go on and type in the search bar for Facebook Stretch, Sweat, and Step, and it'll come up. Sign up to be out there with them for July 19th. Get your sweat on. She said y'all ain't gonna even be out there all day. She said 9 till about 10:30. Cause literally in this heat, that's about as long as you can last. Any outdoor activity should not be after 12 noon, and it should not be going on 2 and 3 hours. So I'm in agreement with that. 9 to 10:30, whatever we gonna do, we can do it within that time, and get back into some AC. So, um, yeah, these three young women have teamed up together. They do a lot throughout the year. This is a good circle if you're looking to, hey, I want to change my fitness plan, my fitness and my wellness plan, which everybody should have. You should have that. You should know for the year what you want to do, what your plan, how are you going to address your physical fitness. That's something you have to do, and you don't have to do it in a boring way. Just going to the gym. It's a lot of little fun clubs, line dancing. You could say, okay, well, I'm going to commit to going to being a part of this line dancing, and I'm going to commit to it for a year. And anytime they're having a class or doing something, I'm going to do it. And I heard her say that one of the women does line dancing. So from this, you could get into yoga, you can get into some fitness. I heard her mention weightlifting, and then you can get into some line dancing. So that all sounds good. So definitely check them out. And also, I know I wasn't able to show the visual, but the JTA community meetings, you can check that out on Facebook as well. In your search bar, you can type in JTA community meetings, or go to their Facebook page, because it's a public post, it's a public announcement. And so you can participate in that. Oh, she had put some things in there in the private chat. I didn't even see it. She put the link. Oh, how can I save this? Let me copy this, and hopefully this will let me put it in the comments from here. I think that's the Eventbrite link that she was speaking about. I have to remember to check over here. She said, thank you again. She was really sweet too. So I'm excited that I connected with them. They have a group called the Accountability Group, child. Wow. So, hey, you out there like, I need an accountability partner. I hear y'all saying that. So they have a whole group. Get in it, child. Get in it. Yep. So you can have somebody to make sure you stay on top of things. Yes, ma'am. All right. So email us at Duval Connect 2020. Your events, your flyers with, a nice little description of what's going on. I got a flyer to just tonight. It was just a flyer. I was like, well, let's chat. Let's chat. So hopefully we'll have a new guest next week. And next week will probably be on YouTube, because I want to see what's going to work best. And so I just started with Facebook, but next week we may be on YouTube. So thank you so much for those that will eventually watch this live. I appreciate it. All right. Good night.